Hey and welcome. Hey and welcome, you guys, and thank you for clicking on the video. Before we get started, please do all the things at the bottom of the screen. Like the video, it's a free way to support the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Tell a friend to tell a friend, please, and thank you. Comment down in the comment section sharing your view. And speaking of sharing, share this video where you share your videos because sharing is indeed caring. Also, the Cash App and Venmo are there for those who'd like to put a little something in the tip jar. Double Trouble premiered on Lifetime on February 21st, starring our girl Tami Roman. And she's getting her smoke and stack on, if you will. So now we open the movie and we're opening with tragedy. I was a little, caught off guard. Drea has just lost her baby and she's in the hospital with her husband, Kevin. And he's like, he doesn't know if he can or wants to try again. And baby, you hate to hear it. Her sister was also there to support. But baby, the next thing we know, we see Kevin over on the couch with some pregnant lady. I said, who is this woman, Harpo? Baby. So we see that Dre is texting him that they need to talk. He kind of, plays it off, deletes the message going about his business. But Miss Thang, with the big belly, done left the damn dog outside. So when Kevin goes to get him, Drea gets Kevin, okay? Miss Lady finds Kevin laid out. He has gone to the high place, or perhaps with the BS Kevin was on, down to the low place. So then we get introduced a little bit later to Ali and Drea, the cooking twins. So now they have a cooking show with the two of them, and they feature one ingredient and make it two different ways. Now, let me tell you, as somebody who loved Top Chef and loved me a little cooking show, I absolutely love this concept. You're going to take one ingredient and make it two different ways so we can get a savory and a sweet. I just thought it was a really, really good idea. And I think it was called Double the Recipe. So, like I said, the ladies are twins. And they're supposed to be going to a business meeting or like a summit, we find out later. And Ali gets chosen to go over Drea. Because, first Drea was like, I'll go because you went last year. And Lamar, who I believe is their manager, was like, nah, they asked for Ali. So behind the scenes, Lamar is, applauding Drea for her strength. But he basically is telling her if she needs some more time, then she can most certainly have it. So a little bit later, we see the ladies taking a meeting. I don't want to say another meeting because the other one's a conference. We ain't got to the conference or the summit yet. But they're taking a meeting with this guy, Brad, about expanding their business. So they start talking their personal business, who was born first, because one's, they're identical twins, but one was always born first, 22 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it may be. I think theirs was like 22 seconds. And they talk about losing their parents. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because this I didn't write down. I think the parents were in a car accident or something like that, but I don't really remember. And we talk about Drea being divorced for a year because she couldn't conceive. Again, you hate to hear it. That's why Kevin, leave it alone, girl. So Ali is saying, she don't really want to be a wife or a mother. And you can kind of see, like we're kind of seeing the differences in the twins play out. And I have in my notes, which is funny because they're going to touch on it a little bit later on. Drea is like more natural makeup. She's like a homemaker type. And Ali is like red lipstick, she's our fun girl, if you will. So we see Drea having a nightmare, and it seems that the mama also preferred Ali to Drea. And the dad is calling her on it. It's the girl's 7th birthday. And mom said that, Ali is just easier than Drea, baby. I remember that from This Is Us with Kevin and Randall and them, because Randall was an easy child. And as a parent, I will say you do have one child that tends to gravitate towards you a little bit more and tends to be easier, but you're not supposed to treat your children differently. It's not supposed to be noticeable that one, because she said she felt like Drea was making her feel like she didn't know what she was doing. Which, baby, I get it. But you're not supposed to make your child feel that, especially as a mother or a parent altogether. So, like I said, the dad was kind of calling her out on it. But lo and behold, Drea overhears the mama saying it. And immediately when I saw this, I said, did Drea take the parents out, child? Because this, like I said, this is the seventh birthday. And I think their parents passed when they were younger. And this is the nightmare that Drea is waking up from. So we get the theme that Drea is always, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Now, I get she was married and divorced, but, it's that theme that she don't never get exactly what she wants. So she's up, but she's feeling down when Ali comes in. And she's upset about their mom. She's upset about Kevin leaving her for better and, giving her the life that she wanted to somebody else. So Allie's like, listen, baby, you are amazing. And one day a guy will give you the life that you deserve. Baby, this is why we say therapy, okay? Because yes, you want to have the life you deserve with the man that you desire, but also self-love, okay? So Allie gets word, she's in the office by herself, that Brad only wants to work with her. And Allie says, there is no her without Drea. Like it's a twin show. There's two of us. I think it was Lamar wanted her to talk. That's their manager. Wanted her to talk it over with Drea and see how she felt about it because he's figuring if Drea agrees to it, then maybe this will be another opportunity and just Allie can do it. But Allie is feeling the brunt of being, she's the it girl. She's that twin. So she loves on her sister. She protects her sister, and she refuses. Now, Drea out in the hallway and overhears the whole thing. Again, you hate to see it because it's constantly giving us or affirming to her that she's not enough. This is, air quote, the better twin. So one day, Drea's at a little cafe. She's getting a coffee and a little treat, and she spots someone she likes. Ryan Jackson, what they call him. And so the owner is telling her that, but he gets a call before she can get up and introduce herself. But, cafe owner says never to fear. He is here every Monday and Friday. Now, Drea does tell Allie, because she's, skinning and grinning, that she did kind of meet someone she's interested in or saw someone she was interested in. But when Allie asked her, she wouldn't show her a picture. She wouldn't give her a name. And she says, listen, I'm going to meet up with him Friday and I'm going to get back to you. Y'all let me know when we get to it. Was that a mistake or was that not a mistake? Should we have given her at least a name, at least a picture? Or was big sis, 22 seconds, going to be a little bit, actually, I don't even know if she was the oldest one now that I say that, going to be, too overbearing or, going and being in your business, searching the socials. But anyway, so she goes to the cafe and he's not there. He don't never show up. Well, where do we see him show up? He's in the lobby where Allie is looking at the conferences. I said, oh, baby. Now, this is where we get to the summit or the conference I was telling y'all about. So they meet, and I said, damn, Drea just cannot catch a break. And I had in my notes that she should have showed the picture. That's my opinion initially, first thoughts. So he convinces her he's a tech guy to take his lecture. After the lecture, Allie's like, it was better than she thought. But, she kind of like him a little bit. He invites her to dinner. And they just hit it off, okay? Drea decides to go into, like, the tech shop where he works, looking for him. Talking about she's looking for some new tech, but he's not there. I think it was Jamal that works there. It's like, I can help you update your tech. But she's like, nah, she wants the man in charge to do it. So she kind of storms out and he's like, he kind of hard to catch. She don't care nothing about it. But Ryan is busy having dinner with Allie. She's getting him to try new things like caviar and then making small talk. He's asking her what else she likes. So in addition to good food, she says she enjoys spending time with her sister, who's an identical twin, getting manis and petties, all the soft girl life that we love to hear about. So she asked him if he has a brother, and he says, he has a brother whose name is Randy, but Randy is locked up. And he hasn't spoken to him in 20 years. And I said, well, god darn. I think, she was going to try to do a little hookup, which we appreciate, for our girl Drea. But alas, womp womp, okay? So, baby, they shut down the restaurant. They there so late, ain't nobody else there. Then they decide to take it back to his hotel room for some adult time. I said, dang, Allie on the first night. Again, Allie is the fun girl, okay? She's not really trying to be committed. She's not really trying to be in a long-term relationship, giving us very much girls just want to have fun. Now, back at home, Drea is asking her about the conference. This is after, she come back from the trip. Because, Allie is looking smitten over that. Put it on her in that one night, baby. And she wants the details. So she admits that she met someone who introduced her to the tech side of things. And she introduced him to beluga caviar. So she, again, now Allie is the one, don't give her no name, don't give her no details, no photos. She's like, you can meet him tomorrow evening. And I said, here we go. Miscommunication is the name of the game. How else can we progress the story but to leave things out? So next night we get to dinner. Drea walks in and she sees Ryan and she looks devastated. Like I said, miscommunication works every time. So while they're sitting down at dinner, Drea just looks visibly uncomfortable. Ryan's asking her, if they have any distinguishing features, like, moles and stuff like that. And they're like, no, we're identical in every way. So he's like, all right, Allie's got a necklace that says her name on it. And he's like, I'm going to just go buy the necklace. And she's like, you can't really do that because I don't always wear it. But this is when she brings out, as I pointed out earlier, she's got the red lip, she's got the curly hair, and Drea is, straight hair, straight edge girl. So I'm like, okay, love to hear it. So Drea is asking him, what attracted you to Allie? He's like, she's beautiful for starters. And Drea's like, thank you. He's like, what? Because she feels like if he's attracted to the sister, he'd be attracted to her too. And, she was really had her designs on making Ryan her man, her man, her man. So he says she's also smart, unapologetic, adventurous, and she makes him laugh. So he excuses himself to go to the bathroom, and Allie wants to know, like, what is it you don't like about him? Like, because she can tell, like I said, she's visibly uncomfortable. What is the problem? Let a sister know. And I said, oh, baby, she like it all a little too much, if you ask me. So she's like, he doesn't know. Drea says to her, he doesn't know what he's getting into with you because she's not a relationship girl. And he looks like he's the type to settle down. So Allie's like, you know what, girl, you're not wrong, but I think I'm falling for him. She's like, do you like him? Because her sister's approval means a lot. So Drea's like, yeah, I do like him. I'm really, really happy for you. And I said, baby, I hate when they do stuff like this. Now, y'all let me know. Would you tell your twin that that's the guy that you were crushing on, or would you let it rock? Get down in the comments and let me know. I feel like I would just let her know and make a decision based off of that and let her know whether, I wasn't feeling it or whether I was feeling it. Now, I feel like if she had told her, Allie probably would have broke up with him because Allie's that type of girl and he might have still not wanted Drea. So y'all let me know how you feel about it. So Ryan shows up on the set and Drea's a little distracted because, baby, she think Ryan fine, okay? Or in the back of her head, my man, my baby, my baby, my baby. Okay, I said yikes. So afterwards, Drea's like, listen, I thought we agreed for this to be a closed set. And Allie's apologizing, saying he had something special planned. So she just told him to, swing on by. She told her sister, don't wait up, okay? So her and Ryan, they go lay under the stars. And after 3 months, he gives her his house keys. And they are official. So she asked him to spend the night at her place. I said, at your place with your sister? Damn. Again, now she don't know. Drea ain't told her, but I just thought, it's a lot. Y'all twins, y'all live together, and then you got the man coming over. Let me know. I don't even know how old they were supposed to be. I'm going to assume they're supposed to be in their 30s. It just seemed like a lot for me, but I don't know, maybe she seemed like she's caregiving for her twin. So he does, baby. Next morning, he comes down to the kitchen and wraps his arms around Drea and gives her a smooch, just like a little peck, nothing too crazy. So she's like, it's Drea. It ain't Ali. So he apologizes. And then in comes Ali, and neither one of them say nothing. Neither one of them admits that, he came in and put his arms around the wrong woman because Ali had ran to the store, pick up some orange juice and some other things. So now he's telling his coworker about the mistake, and he's like, I think, that Drea wanted me to think it was her, to think it was Ali, right? So the coworker's like, they're close. It probably was an awkward mistake, and she just didn't know how to respond to it. He not knowing what he know. And at this time, the coworker, like I said, I believe his name is Jamal, he ain't met Drea, he ain't met Ali, so he's none the wiser. So we see Lamar, and he's telling Ali they're sitting in like the park, because I think when Ryan came onto the set, he was really, really excited for Ali, and he was kind of mentioning it to Drea and was like, I'm really happy for her. Happiness looks good on her. And Drea was basically like, it wasn't going to last. So I don't know how long he's known the ladies. He's their manager, but it gives me that he has, somewhat of a long-term relationship with them. And he's like, something seems off about Drea. So she admits, yeah, she has been acting different. And Lamar's like, I think it's Ryan, watching you fall in love maybe is making her feel left out. Yes. And also, and also. So Ali says she can see that. So Lamar's like, well, maybe Drea can use a man for herself. Sorry, child, not my phone ringing in the middle of a recording. And actually, that was my watch because my phone stays on silent. So Ali is gonna try and set her up, because this is when we ask about the brother. The brother's not up. He does have a brother, Ryan's brother. Ryan does have a brother, but the brother is not, he's unavailable. So they're like, all right, they'll hook her up with Jamal. So they go ahead and they have their double date. Baby Jamal seemed annoying to me. He was a little too overzealous. He was giving me too much, and Drea was feeling the same way. Okay, Drea was not feeling him at all. So she says something like, he's trying to direct her. They playing mini golf on how to help her with her swing, and she says something about needing a boss. And Jamal clocks it, and he was like, "Wait a minute, that was you that came in looking for Ryan at the tech center." She's like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about. Get away from me with this Apollo." So, like I said, she pretends she don't know what he's talking about. But Ali gets a text about a designer making custom dresses for their birthday. So Drea runs to head to the bathroom, and Ryan kind of catches up with her and asks, can you keep this between us? He wants to meet up for like lunch. And I said, I know she about to get the wrong idea. And he should have said a little bit more than that, because I felt like, and I was right, that she thought it was going to be about her and it was about Ali. But you should have known it was about Ali, because that's just your sister's boyfriend. But she liked him so much, she felt like he was also secretly liking her too. So now Drea all dolled up. She tells Ali she's headed to lunch with a guy that she met at the cafe. Ever so secretive. She says, oh, like he never went out of play. Like he always been in the mix. So they're at the lunch, and Ryan tells Drea that he wants to ask Ali to marry him. I said, I knew it. Do you think it's too soon? He said no. Drea says no, but she says that Ali will think that it is, and so she'll want to wait a little bit longer. So he says, okay, he trusts her judgment. B. And I mean, what else can he do? That's their twin. They're supposed to be close. He don't really know any better. Is what it is. So at work, Ali finds out that she's pregnant. They had to get some type of blood work done, and the lady come in and was like, baby, regarding your blood work. So she tells Drea, and Drea's like, that's not possible. And I'm like, well, just because she had miscarriages, genetically, they're not allowed to have babies, child. I don't know. But Ali says, listen, Robin told me. And then she went and, because it showed up in the blood test. And then she went and bought her some little sticks and, peed on the sticks real quick. And come to find out, here we are. So she's like, she didn't think that she wanted this, but she's excited. And she can't wait to tell Ryan. So when she walks away, baby Drea had a crash to the out. Okay, this is not what we planned. So now Ali is 2 months. She's eating with Lamar, having lunch, and she done ate all the damn spring rolls. So when Drea come in, she looking for him, and Drea, when Drea comes in, she looking for the spring rolls, and Ali laughs. She's like, the baby wanted him all. And Drea was like, everything is not about you and the damn baby. I don't know if she said damn, but I just threw it in there for some seasoning. So she automatically apologizes. And Lamar's like, you want me to have a PA go get some more? But Drea's like, no, it's fine. It's cool. So on a break, Ali runs to the restroom. They're filming the show, right? On the break from the show. Ali runs to the restroom. Drea go put a little something in her drink. She comes back, baby. She drink it all down. Next thing we know, we hear her losing all her insides in the bathroom. Just everything's coming out. She's throwing up. So she comes out the bathroom. She's crying. This is Ali. She's ready to collapse. Next thing we know, we over at the hospital, and the doctor's like, it looks like, you consume listeria and E. coli, which, they work on a cooking show. So he's like, it could be from contaminated food, improperly cleaned surfaces, any of the things. But, she done took it in. We got a problem. He's like, you're going to need to stay in the hospital for a few days. And because, we were in the early stages, she lost the baby. So she's all torn up. Now, she didn't want to have a baby at first, but, it happens. You don't want to have a baby, you get pregnant, you miscarry, you feel some type of way. So back at home, Allie's telling Ryan, because he's just trying to be there, trying to, be the dutiful boyfriend. And she's like, listen, I need some time to myself. She's distraught. So she sends him away. Now, when he goes downstairs, he leaves the room. I don't know if it's upstairs and downstairs, child. Ryan's like, he don't get it, but Drea's like, listen, that's how she is. It ain't my way, but that's her way. And we just got to respect it. So he's like, all right, I'll call her tomorrow. Drea's like, she gonna need some more time. She gonna need some more time now. Now I thought Drea was just being a hater, but I don't think she was wrong, because Allie do look like, just leave me alone to grieve and, go through the process by myself and do what I got to do. So Drea goes to work to check on the segment and Lamar, and, he's impressed with all that she's been through, that she finds the time to be present for her sister. And she's like, well, she's the only family I have left, and I want what's best for her. So she gets up to pour them some wine, and he's editing the video, and he sees Drea put something in Allie's water. I said, oh, baby. And he shows Drea, because, baby, they forgot to turn one of the cameras off on the break. I said, yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. You knew it was about to go down then. So Drea's like, wait, let me explain. But he's like, nah, you need to get the fuck out. You need to leave. So she leaves, and he goes and rushes out to leave work. And he is trying to call Allie. And Drea roll up on him, baby, and she pushed that man into oncoming traffic right in front of a car. He done going on to glory, okay? Going on to glory. So Allie gets the news. She calls Ryan and is like, listen, Lamar's been in an accident and he's gone. And she says, listen, she knows she's needed some space, but she wants to spend the night. She needs that comfort from him. He offers to pick her up, but she says she'll drive. And at first I thought it was Drea, but it wasn't. And I said, girl, why? Because when he offered to drive, that's what made me think it was Drea. And I said, he should have came and picked that baby up. She just lost her baby, so he really should have came, but he was trying to listen to her what she wanted. So Drea comes in. She's like, girl, where you going? And she's like, she tells her she going to be with her man. She's like, all right, well, let me just pour us some tea and help you finish packing. And here go Drea again, slipping a little something into the tea, but this time it's, the insides of a pill. She put in Allie's drink, and the next thing we know, Allie is fast asleep, and Drea pretends to be Allie, gets them keys, goes on over to Ryan's place, and slips into that bed and hits him with a and it's giving very much single white female. I see what you did here. I see what you did here, okay? So the next morning, he wake up, ain't nobody there. So he goes over to the twins and he's knocking, and Allie's pissed, and she's like, Drea told me what you did. She told me everything. And he's like, huh? It's like, she told you I fell asleep and you asked her to come over. She thought it was to talk about us, but then you made a move on her. He was like, no, that's not even what happened at all. But she's like, listen, I trust my sister. Because he's like, no, I was waiting for you. I thought you used your key. you came to the bed and started kissing on me. So Drea's like, no, Drea's like, oh my God, he's lying. So you don't know who you're sleeping with? Ali says, baby, I mean, if y'all are identical, anyway, again, it's giving single white female. So she's like, I don't ever want to see you again. So Dre is apologizing, and Allie's like, listen, none of this is her fault. So Ryan, he don't know what to do with himself. He go tell Jamal what happened, and he insists he didn't know. Like, I didn't know that it was that lady. I thought it was my lady, but at last it was. So Jamal finally tells him, like, listen, Dre came by the shop or the office months ago asking about you. But when he brought it up at mini golfing, she denied it. So he's like, you're a techie. Go ahead and do your thing. Excuse me, y'all. All right, y'all, sorry. So Ryan is worried that it could come back on him and, bite him in the ass. But he's like, not if you do it the right way. And basically, what do you have to lose? Like, your girl is going anyway, so you might as well try it. So Ryan's like, well, let's go. They going into Drea's cloud. And baby, you hate to see it, okay? I was trying to wonder what was in my cloud. And that's why y'all got to be careful what y'all be searching on your phones and your Macs and everything is all linked up. Because baby, it just really had me thinking. So he finds articles about her slain ex-husband. And then, more interestingly, well, that was pretty interesting because she has some words. But there are Photoshop pictures of Drea and Ryan together before he even met Ali, because Jamal is peeping the dates. So Ryan's like, listen, I'm going to show Ali and clear my name. But Ali is headed out. Oh, but as Ali is headed out the door, she can tell somebody touched her keys because she had said earlier, like, that's like one of her little gifts, one of her little things. And she could tell you don't touch something or moved it before, whatever. So Dre done fooled around and put the damn keys back the wrong way. So Ali goes to see Ryan and he's like, listen, I tried to call you. And she's like, listen, I believe you. Okay. I should have trusted you. So they both apologize for the things they said to each other. So he offers to handle it together, but she's like, no, this is something that I got to handle myself. The signs were there, but I loved her more than anyone ever did. And that includes the mom. So he's like, all right, I'll be there when it's done. So she going home, baby. She confront Drea, and Drea tells her, she tells Drea, you lied to me. You took my key pretending to be me on over to Ryan, and you put the key back the wrong way, like I said, because she had the name facing the wall. And Ali was like, baby, that would drive me crazy. I would never. That's why when you move stuff, you got to study it before you move it, okay? If you're trying to be slick, look and see, which, this key was facing this way, and so on and so forth. So she walks away, and Drea's like, you can't leave me. And Ali says, you are nothing to me. Get your own life and stay out of mine. And she walks out the door, and I said, now, what would you do? Would you choose your twin or would you choose your man? I mean, really, I guess at the end of the day, she's choosing herself because she's been burdened with, Drea's stuff the whole time. But y'all let me know what you would do. I feel like that's a very hard position to be in, and I don't even know what I would do. So, turns out Allie's been staying with Ryan for 2 weeks before they go hit the lake house. He takes Allie to the cafe. When he gets to the cafe, the owner is excited because she thinks it's Drea. And she's like, oh my God, I just knew you guys were finally going to get together. I just love a woman who knows what she wants. And she was like, something, Drea. She was like, I'm not Drea. I'm her twin sister, Allie. So, this is telling us everything we kind of needed to know. We putting together the pieces of the puzzle, right? So, Allie's words are haunting Drea, baby. Drea over there at the house cutting the photos up. Ryan and Allie, they finally make it to the lake house. They're sitting by the lake, and it's for her birthday. And then this is where we get to, just a little more backstory. And Allie's telling him that Drea struggled with feeling like not enough since they were kids. And then she met Kevin and she thought that it was over. But then we had the miscarriages, plural, baby, poor Drea, the divorce, and then her watching him live the life that she wanted with somebody else. She thought that Kevin's death would help her move on, but clearly not. So Ryan asks, like, do you think Drea had anything to do with it? And Allie's like, no, like, not at all. Like, she's not capable of that kind of thing. Now, we know for a fact she took out Lamar, so she just might have been. So now he gifts her with this necklace. He goes to make her run into town. So Allie, she's there. She's waiting for Ryan to get back. And the power goes out, baby. You know, it's like a horror movie. When that power goes out, it's about to get activated, okay? She hears the noise. She's, Ryan. And then she sees a birthday cake lit up with the candles. And surprise, 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 surprise. It is her sister in their matching custom birthday dresses. And she's like, I thought we should talk and celebrate our birthdays together, baby. What? So she's asking her, why do you look like me? Because she's got the curly hair. She's got the red lip. You know this is about to go wrong, right? So she's like, you're perfect. Dre, I don't think so. And Allie's like, everything about you, about your life. No. Drea says, Allie, everything about your life you didn't want and you still got it. The life that I always wanted. This is my life. Child, shout out to my acting school. Anyway, and Ryan was supposed to be mine, baby. I don't know how she got that in her head. Now, you might have wanted him, but there was nothing leading us in that direction. So Allie's like, listen, I didn't plan for any of this to happen. Andrea says, and I didn't plan to kill Lamar, baby. They always telling on themselves. Or make you lose your baby. Again, telling her whole thing. So then Allie takes off running. Andrea got the knife and she's following her. Allie. So Allie decides she's going to hide in the doggone closet. And I was like, this ain't going to be a good hiding place. But she manages to find her little Purim in there, okay? She trying to load that thing. She dropping the bullets. I think she managed to get one or two in there. And then Drea, she hears her dropping it. She makes her way into the room. The closet has like a mirror door. She look at herself in that mirror, open that door, and here we go. Okay. Did they get the tussling, child? They didn't really get the tussling, but Allie is like pointing that thing at her and telling her like to put the knife down. So Dre is shaking a little bit, but she listens. She go ahead and put the knife down. And she's telling her, like, listen, you have everything and everyone, and I have given you everything, and I got nothing left to give, baby. This one give her a hug. Allie's like, that's not true. So she's like, go ahead and take her pain away, okay? Put her out of her misery. Long story short, and end this curse. And she's screaming at Allie's like, she could never hurt her. Your dreams have always mattered to me. You're not just the extra one. We were born holding hands, because they told that story earlier on in the movie. When life pulled us apart, I was still holding on. Life was beating you down, and that's why I killed. And I said, well, damn, that whole time we find out Allie is the one that took out Kevin. I said, well, they got me on that one. You don't really get me on too much, but I mean, they are twins, so there's that. But you thinking, she got reason to do it. But no, she says she was trying to give her a new chapter so she could get closure. So she put the little Purim down, right? So Drea says, that chapter ended when you stole Ryan from me. Oh, baby, the delusion is real. So Drea, pick up that thing and says, if you're not going to do it, I'll do it myself. Now she pointing the thing at Allie, and then she slowly turns it towards herself. Now this is when Allie tries to stop her, and baby, now they get to tussling. When you get to tussling with that thing, it gonna ring, okay? It ain't gonna go how you want it to go. So Ryan comes in and calls Allie's name because he hear that pop. Actually, I think it was just one pop. So he runs in the room and he grabs her to comfort her. But which twin got shot, y'all? Which twin you think it is? I was thinking it was Drea. They telling us it's Allie, because the next thing we see Ryan with what we assume is Allie. She got a ring on it. If you like it, then she got a ring on it, baby. Okay, she talking to the group. She telling Jamal that they have been married for 3 months, but she is ready for a lifetime. So they start talking about how they met at the summit, and he asked, well, do you even remember what the course name was? And at first I was like, she gonna fumble, but no, she remembered the course name. I think it was the correct course. Well, he would have known if it was the wrong course name. It said something. And then she's like, and then I had you try fish eggs and chocolate. So he says the name of it, but he says the name out of order. Because it was, I said earlier, it was beluga caviar, but it was like beluga hybrid caviar. And I think he said hybrid beluga. Baby, you know Ali don't play them games. Ali know if her keys is turned the wrong direction. So the minute he said the caviar name in the correct order and she didn't correct him, I said, that's Drea. It's Drea. That ain't Ali. It's Drea. So he's like, you changed my palate. You changed my life. But so, they cheering. They get ready to go to the car. And when they're getting ready to go to the car, she gets a call from Brad. It's a year later. Now, Brad is the one, like I said, that wanted her to do the business without Ali. Baby, then they give us the flashback that we was looking for. And a struggle, indeed, it was. And Ali was indeed the one that was shot. Andrea, she cried. She cried, baby. She said, Ali, no. But then when she heard Ryan coming in, baby, she took that chain off of Allie's neck and put it on herself. And then we're back in the present where Drea, who's pretending to be Allie, tells Brad that she'd love to take him up on the offer. So Ryan gets her, he puts her in the car, he smiles, he's just happy. He tells her everything is going to be okay. And she kind of has this sinister look on her face when he goes around to get in the car. He turns around. So now they drive off and we hear Ryan saying, I have a brother. His name is Randy. He's a bad man. And then somebody lifts their hat. And that's where the movie ends, y'all. And I said, now, I didn't think that Ryan and Randy were twins. Y'all get down in the comments and correct me if I'm wrong. Or were they just trying to tell us, like, are we just to assume that he's there to give Drea, Allie, and possibly Ryan like a dose of their own medicine to give them a hard road? I don't really know what they was trying to do with that part. You trying to give us a part 2 because Lifetime don't really do a part 2. Now, had this been over on Tubi, it might have been a different conversation. And speaking of Tubi, y'all, I think I'm gonna give y'all another video. Yes, another one, because some of y'all might want to watch this, and some of y'all might want to watch that. You can get with this, and you can get with that, and that will be a double feature. We will talk about double trouble and twin over on Tubi with Drew Sidora and doing a little comparison. Okay, again, a little longer than I anticipated because your girl likes to talk and give you the details, but I appreciate y'all all for coming through. Get down in the comments and let me know, did you watch this movie? Did you enjoy this movie? Was it given a typical Lifetime movie? To me it was, but it was on the better side because some of them you'd be like, baby, what was this? That's how I felt about the last one, the dating app or the liver. That's how I felt about that one. I was like, womp. But it is what it is. For this one, I thought it was definitely better. Definitely liked it a lot more. I'll give it a round of applause. It was just give me a little bit more. I love to see Tami Roman working. Okay, because man, Mama is working. But I'm gonna get on off of here. I appreciate y'all for coming through, and I hope to see everyone in the next video. Peace out, y'all.